Hello everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. I'm going to go over two stories that matters today on the 31st of March. Today is 4:30 East Standard Time. Okay, so I want to go over three topics, three articles that are kind of eye-popping. First article is again from Bloomberg. This one that I'm looking at right now is found on cryptonewmedia.press. Okay, here's the article name or title. Bitcoin will continue to outperform stock market, says Bloomberg intelligent analyst Mike McGlone. Here's why. So we've heard a lot of this from Bloomberg before, and this one's, in my opinion, true. I've also remember the same Bloomberg last year saying, oh yeah, Bloomberg will break $100,000 by the end of the year. Last year. Never happened. So take these articles by a grain of salt. But this one I think is somewhat accurate based upon past performance, where the markets have been pretty well negative for the last 3 months in the US. So here's the quotes. Significance of Bitcoin really struck me last few weeks. It is the most significant, fluent, widely traded 24/7 asset ever in the planet. And when we saw nickel break down, couldn't trade it for a couple of weeks, people looked over to Bitcoin and say this thing isn't going to stop trading. That's true. And the only reason it's going to stop trading is when the desperate governments, regulate it to death. Okay, that's the only way it's going to stop. But the rest of the world will continue to trade it no matter what. Then he continues. Bitcoin supply is declining by code, and its demand and adoption are rising, and you're really seeing it from the war. Its value is coming out as a store value exchange mechanism. That is true as well. Worldwide, more retailers are carrying it. There's global demand from banks, even as big as Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, that are jumping in on Bitcoin. PayPal's adopting it. There's rumors now that Apple will embed it into their Apple Pay. That'll be found out in April. So that puts more demand on Bitcoin, and yet we're still on the last, I don't know, not very many, out of 21 million Bitcoins out there. I think it's 21 million. But we're coming to the end of that market cap size of what's available. And not only that, but you got more and more companies mining for Bitcoin. So you got where it started in El Salvador with the volcano bonds mining. And then in the US, just I think it was last week or the last few days, it was announced that Exxon and some of the big oil producers in the US are using their excess energy when they burn off or flare off oil. They're using that to mine for Bitcoin, using that energy to mine Bitcoin. I just read another one that a Canadian oil producer is now doing that as well. So there's going to be more mining, which expedites the eventual no more supply in Bitcoin. So that will, if that Bitcoin demand stays in place, then overall, obviously the price of Bitcoin will explode because of that, because you're demanding something where there's no more supply. In some places becoming global collateral, and that's true as well, where some countries are wanting to use Bitcoin as part of their legal tender, namely like El Salvador. To me, that's a big macro big picture that is pulled down initially with that lower tide from the market. So long term, I totally agree with that, based upon that fundamental news. Then he says it's still going to be pressure factor, but I'll end with this. The significance is Bitcoin is up in the air with 5% or so, and the Nasdaq is still down 7%. It is showing divergent strength, which I expect to continue. Yes, up until late, maybe last year, Bitcoin was becoming, as well as the whole crypto space, becoming a true hedge against what was going on with the markets. I've just put up the video on will the U.S. Economy collapse, showing you the data and the reasons why. That's predictable, just when. And Bitcoin will become the truest hedge of them all because of this, as well as I would like to see gold as well be a hedge, but it's just not performing as it should. A lot of that's manipulated. So Bitcoin diverging from the performance of the U.S. stock markets has now taken hold yet again in the last few weeks. Originally it was suppressed because of institutional capital coming in and suppressing pretty well the price of Bitcoin, it's seen. But now Bitcoin in its true form, because no one owns it, no one controls it, no one manipulates it, Bitcoin's starting to go back up in value. So that's what's happening there. Now, another big development, if you're on Kraken, like myself, this is where more demand for Bitcoin will take place. Now, this is all the legitimate mainstream stuff. For those that don't know, the bigger, larger crypto exchanges out there are crooked. I'm not going to say any further than that, but I do believe that they're crooked. Out of all the exchanges out there, to be on that's honest, that have really good customer service, is Kraken. So what they've done is, on the first article, I'm going to, from the same source, cryptonewmedia.press. I don't know this. Well, we'll go into that on the actual source. But the article says Kraken exchange integrates Bitcoin Lightning Network. We've heard about this for the last few years, but this is one of the first real use cases that I'm seeing on a big level. Users can trade Bitcoin with almost zero fees. That's huge. I've been transferring money out of Binance back into Kraken. I've used Tron, Solana. I use the BSC, Binance Smart Chain, or BNB Smart Chain, whatever it's called. That I don't like. I don't like that network. It's proprietary. But the Tron was okay. I only paid $1 for that, no matter what the amount was, a couple $100 or $1,000. I only paid a flat fee of $1, so that's not a big deal to me. Same with Solana as well. So here for zero fees, it's not that significant, but zero fees, it's like, really? That can be done. So this is the article here. Check out the relevant tweet below. Now this is from Bitcoin Magazine, from today actually. Kraken has officially integrated Bitcoin Lightning Network for all users. Kraken customers can now instantly deposit and withdraw Bitcoin with nearly zero fees through the network, Lightning Network. So essentially what that means is there's a second layer built onto the Bitcoin, no different than with Ethereum. So it's kind of like where Ethereum is much more advanced than Bitcoin in terms of technology, where you hear about the Web3 and the future of the internet being built on the Ethernet smart blockchain. I believe that's happening, especially with the domain name services that are coming out now. So that's real, and I'm not sure where that's going to go with Bitcoin, but it's a totally different use case. But here it says, as Bitcoin Magazine, users of this exchange can now deposit and withdraw up to 0.1 Bitcoin. Now this is on Kraken that sets this limit. With instant and cheap Lightning payments, Kraken is running in LND node. Now obviously I'm no expert here, but it's an expensive instant customer deposits and withdrawals of Bitcoin. Now again, if you are registered on Kraken, this is all legal, okay? Because your local government's going to know about it. Your tax authority is going to know about it because they're all registered with Kraken, or it's all registered with Kraken, so they'll have access to it. So obviously can't lie about it. So here's the thing: adoption is going to come from people who have fiat in their bank account. They need to get it into Bitcoin, and this is Pierre Rochard, Bitcoin product manager at Kraken. So this is the word of Kraken itself. Kraken is providing an excellent venue for them to do that, and they can top up their mobile Lightning wallet and use it as a medium of exchange. That's clearly the next steps in terms of Bitcoin's evolution. So what's happening here is that you have Bitcoin, the smart, now becoming like a smart contract capabilities, being able to transact in Bitcoin using an exchange like Kraken. So basically, you get registered, get on a Kraken, go through the usual know your customer and all that process, and then from the exchange you'll be able to transact in Bitcoin with other providers that will accept Bitcoin, obviously namely mainstream users now. I mean, I'm reading lots of places you would get paid a property tax. I read a school will accept Bitcoin as payment in Dubai. Places like that. It's going really mainstream. So this is going to be the new capability. And on top of that, with Kraken, Kraken's now becoming an official bank in Wyoming. And I just put up an article on my chat server about it, where they're getting actual issues from the American Bankers Association. So they're one of the only crypto anything that's getting an actual routing number from the American Banking Association. And there's the next step is that they're going to get some other kind of code from the Federal Reserve as well. This is one of the only places I know in the mainstream we're able to transact in crypto in the traditional fiat world. Coinbase is not there yet. Binance is not there yet. And all the other FTX and all that ain't there yet. But Kraken is. This is why I'm really excited to be with Kraken. So, okay, there's some technical analysis news there. Anyways, let's go on to the next article. So this is now another article. Kraken Exchange integrates Bitcoin's Lightning Network. Again, same source. Crypto New Media.press. Okay, so this article has, we just looking for anything unique here. Kraken has integrated Bitcoin's Lightning Network. Okay, so we already talked about that. Okay, so this is a statement right from Kraken. Adoption is going to come from people who have fiat. Okay, Kraken has provided an excellent venue for them to do that. Adoption is going to come from people who have fiat in their bank account and need to get it into Bitcoin. Kraken is providing an excellent venue for them to do that. And then they can top up their mobile Lightning wallet and use it as a medium of exchange. That is phenomenal. That's clearly the next step in terms of Bitcoin's evolution. So we already talked about that. So this is more on the Bitcoin as well. So Lightning is a lot more efficient than on-chain Bitcoin while also relying on on-chain Bitcoin security. So you're getting the best of both worlds. That's what this Rochard said. Leveraging smart contracts. This is the first time to hear about this on Bitcoin. Smart contracts to abstract small and frequent payments away from the Bitcoin base layer. Abstraction occurs in the form of payment channels in which users lock up Bitcoin on-chain by creating 2 of 2 multi-sig addresses, which they can use to transfer funds to another off-chain. That's a big deal for a large coin like that with Bitcoin. I mean, this is one of the reasons why Ethereum has advanced in terms of technology. But I mean, let's face it, we've got a world where I could right now trade up to 130 plus coins in US dollar on Kraken to trade from. So for the two biggest, be it Ethereum and Bitcoin, to be able to be at this point and be able to still be linked into the fiat world with a traditional bank, it's phenomenal. But the thing is, to be able to transfer from a bank account to the world of Bitcoin with 0 fees, that's the exciting part. Anyways, this continues. With Lightning, you can send a payment off-chain that is much more energy efficient, not only because you're adding the miner fee and thus the amount of electricity consumption by miners, but also because that payment only has to be stored and shared by 2 parties on that channel. Second layer, it empowers BTC to be better used as a medium of exchange by establishing an overlay network of payment channels indirectly connected with each other that can theoretically perform millions of transactions per second as Bitcoin is routed across channels from sender to recipient. That's pretty simple. Kraken leverage Lightning Labs implementation L&D. Due to the API interface, it exposes an extensive developer documentation the project makes available. So again, this is the first mainstream article I've read using Lightning. Okay, and then there's also Taproot, which I mentioned went mainstream last November. So this is where Bitcoin gets exciting. It's been a real experience because they do have a fully featured API and they're one of the oldest implementations of the Lightning protocol. Now remember, Kraken itself is one of the oldest, most established crypto exchanges out there. And as I said, they're the most honest. Americans can trade on it. I can trade on it being in Ontario, Canada, because of the OSC, our Ontario Securities Commission. And then the last part is they have the largest user base, and we have a lot of people on the network that have lots of experience with LND. So it's proven to be easy to use and very reliable as well. That's pretty well it. Anyway, so I'm going to stop there. Those 3 articles, you can see them in my blog. And I'll just let you know if you want to know more and stay on top of this sort of thing, just get over to quantlabs.net/contact, and we'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.